that one. It was just for us to note in this meeting. Meeting slots for the Portfolio Committee on Premier and Community Safety. If I remember, Honorable Fraser, you raised, sorry, yes, you can come in.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think it has been addressed. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That has been addressed. So we'll go now to the new matters, item number 7. The MOU with SALGA and implications on committees. Mr. Sukraj.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, Chairpersons. Chair, I've been asked to take you through the MOU that we've signed with SALGA. And I will do so. I'll take you through the content of the MOU, but what I will also do for the benefit of chairpersons is just to give you a little bit of background as to what gave rise to the SALGA MOU and what benefit it will have for the legislature, because I think that's also quite important. And I'll also speak a little bit about the constitutional basis. I mean, what provisions in the Constitution actually require and empower us to enter into a relationship with local government. So, Chair, I am flighting the presentation, but it has been shared, and the actual MOU has also been shared with members if they want to actually look at the word-for-word content of the MOU. But like I indicated, Chairperson, what I'll do is I'll take you quickly through the constitutional basis of the MOU. And then I'll also speak a little bit about the relationship between the legislature and SALGA and what benefits this relationship with local government will have for the legislature. So that will be just as a background. And after that background, I'll go into the actual content of the MOU. So we'll talk about the aim, the purpose, the governance structures, and the areas of collaboration, and that actually makes up the meat of the MOU, Chair. So, Honourable Chairperson, if I can just start with the constitutional basis of the MOU, we know that Section 114 of the Constitution restricts the legislature's oversight powers to the provincial executive. So it doesn't extend to local government. So it's a complex relationship, and it's a complex issue, but the understanding is that we don't have direct oversight powers over local government. But if we look further through the Constitution, and specifically if we look at Chapter 3, we see that Chapter 3 emphasizes that the different spheres are interdependent. So although we are distinct, and independent from each other, there is this relationship and there is this independence. And the Constitution says that there is a need for cooperation between the national, provincial, and local government spheres. And if we go further into Section 41, Honourable Chairpersons, we'll see that the Constitution actually says, and it mandates the different spheres of government to cooperate with one another in mutual trust and good faith by fostering friendly relations, by assisting and supporting one another, by informing one another of and consulting on matters of mutual interest, and coordinating actions and legislation. So you'll see there is a strong constitutional basis for working together, coordinating, and supporting and assisting each other. So that's actually the constitutional basis for which gave rise to this engagement with local government, and which gave rise to this MOU with SALGA in the first place. So we know that if I can just mention at a very, very high level and superficial level, the relationship overview, we know that the core functions of the legislature are oversight, public participation, and lawmaking. And when we perform all of these functions, lawmaking, oversight, and public participation, there is always a need to actually go into communities. And when we go into communities, there's this need to engage and work with local government. So that's why SALGA, as the representative of local government, was the first point to actually commence this relationship with local government. And that's why this MOU with SALGA was the starting point. And we also looked at what would be the, after we confirmed the constitutional basis and the need to cooperate with local government, what would be the benefit of cooperating with local government? And firstly, if we look at the bills that we deal with, we know that we have to comply with Section 118, we have to conduct public involvement, and we actually have to go into municipalities. So there's awareness campaigns that we need to do, we need to mobilize the public, we need assistance to distribute the bills, and we actually rely on local government municipalities to actually assist us. So we go and drop off the bills with municipalities, and we ask them to assist us to distribute it to committees. When we are looking for facilities for public hearings, we actually reach out to municipalities and ask them whether they can assist us with venues, halls, and so forth. So there's definitely a benefit when it comes to dealing with provincial and NCOP bills. When it comes to planning and finalizing provincial and local objectives, we've always been working in silos. So we deal with our provincial objectives, and local government deals with their local government objectives. But there's always been a lack of coordination between the two spheres. So once we have this relationship with local government, it will assist us in planning. So when there's provincial and local government planning, we can actually make sure that they talk to each other, and there's actually a cooperation between the two spheres. All of the resolutions that come out of TLTP, sector parliaments, our symposia, our functionality programs, all of these resolutions need to be tracked. And there's definitely value in engaging with local government so that those resolutions can be tracked. And later on, we can actually go back to communities and to municipalities and report and give them feedback on those resolutions. Service delivery issues. We know that there's a huge issue with service delivery at local government, and there's always been the question of how we, as the province and as the legislature, can go and assist with service delivery issues. And the problem is there hasn't been a platform for engagement, because if we can't summon municipalities to come and engage with us, then there's no platform. But where we're trying to get to is actually formulate a provincial speakers forum where the legislature is represented and all municipalities are represented. And that will actually provide a platform where we can engage with municipalities. So those service delivery issues, when we're hearing that, eThekwini has water issues, this municipality, has electricity issues, and there's no platform. We're trying to get to the stage where we actually have a platform, the Provincial Speakers Forum, to actually engage with municipalities on all of those issues. When it comes to disaster management, flood relief, and so on, we've got a portfolio committee on environmental affairs that deals with issues of waste management, landfill, and whatnot. Municipalities also deal with these issues. So if there can be that engagement and cooperation, it'll actually assist us to deal with disaster management and so forth. Financial management, we know that there's a huge issue with a lack of capacity when it comes to financial management at municipalities. So if we can engage and empower municipalities, because our finance committee and our SCOPA are so strong, and if we can take that strength and empower municipalities to actually improve their financial management, then it can also lead to lower unauthorized, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure and so forth. Section 132 hearings, when it comes to following up on reports and so forth, if there can be sessions with local government to actually follow up on those hearings, then that will also make those hearings more valuable. And impacts, like I mentioned, if we can assist to train and support and empower the impacts, then it will also empower local government to manage their financial resources better. So those are all the benefits of a relationship and of cooperation with local government, and that's what actually prompted this drive to actually enter into an MOU with SALGA. So, Chair, that's just a background, the constitutional basis, and where we can see some benefit come from a relationship. Now, if I can actually go into the content of the MOU, and firstly, the MOU just sets out the aim, and very briefly, it says that the aim is to strengthen collaboration between the legislature and local government, to align efforts, to share resources, and to coordinate strategies, to establish a formal working relationship between the legislature and SALGA, to enhance collaboration, to improve service delivery, and contribute to the achievement of the NDP. So very briefly, that's the aim that you'll see set out in the MOU. There's also a preamble and a purpose, which also flows from the aim, and it says that there is a common commitment to the fundamental values enshrined in the Constitution, and there is a recognition that local government is not directly accountable to the legislature, but we appreciate the value that will be derived from a structured relationship. And so we're trying to establish the structured collaborative relationship between these two important institutions. And we also commit to consult and inform one another on matters of common interest. So that very briefly introduces the MOU. And the actual meat of the MOU is where we establish governance structures to actually drive this relationship going forward. And you'll see there are 4 governance structures. Firstly, it's the political sponsors, and this is actually the Speaker and the SALGA Chairperson. So those are the political sponsors that are at the top of the hierarchy. And the functions of the political sponsors will be to provide high-level political leadership and strategic oversight, to champion the MOU, to facilitate political buy-in, to serve as ambassadors of the partnership, to participate in strategic engagements, and to intervene where necessary to remove political obstacles from the furtherance of the MOU. So that's the political sponsors that are at the top. Then below them, we have the project sponsors, which is the Secretary and the SALGA Provincial Director. And the functions of this structure is to provide operational leadership and institutional oversight, to ensure the alignment of the MOU's activities with the strat plans, to mobilize resources, to establish joint operational structures, working committees, task teams, and so forth, to monitor progress, and to resolve administrative or institutional barriers. So that's the next level of governance, the project sponsors. Then below them, we have the project manager, which is the executive manager, parliamentary services. And the project manager's functions will be to lead the day-to-day coordination and implementation, develop and maintain a project plan, facilitate meetings, compile progress reports, ensure effective communication, and manage risks. So that's the third level of the governance structures. And then lastly, and perhaps most importantly, is we envisage a provincial speakers forum. And this is actually the structure where there'll be the actual engagement with local government. So this provincial speakers forum will be made up of the legislature and all the municipalities in KZN. And this is where the actual work and engagement is going to happen with municipalities. And the function of the Provincial Speakers Forum would be to strengthen intergovernmental relations, to coordinated oversight and accountability, support for the legislative sector development, promotion of ethical leadership and good governance, facilitation of knowledge exchange and capacity building. It will serve an advisory and strategic role, and it will also monitor the implementation of the MOU. So these are the structures that this MOU actually establishes. And like I mentioned, the Provincial Speakers Forum is where we're trying to get the end goal, where there'll be the actual engagement with local government. What we've also done in the MOU is we've set out all the various areas where we see that there can be collaboration with local government. And we've just set them out at a very high level in the MOU, because the MOU is not meant to actually put in the detail. All of that detail, the activities and the project plans and so forth will come after. But just to list the areas of collaboration, honorable members, we see that some of the areas include legislative advocacy and policy support, public participation and community engagement, public and civic education. This includes civic education workshops, community readiness and awareness workshops, community radio slots, awareness campaigns. And then we've also identified mechanisms that would require further consultation. So when it comes to sectoral parliaments, women's parliaments, people with disabilities parliaments, a collaborative approach between the oversight committees and SALGA units, taking Legislature to the people programs, the training of MPACs, community oversight and stakeholder involvement sessions, SALGA briefings. So these are just some of the high-level areas that we see we can collaborate. And it includes, so it's not a closed list, so later on we can add in further areas of collaboration. And like I indicated, the actual work, the project plans and the activities and so forth will then follow after a while, now that the MOU has been signed. And honorable members, going forward, what will happen next is we are moving towards the establishment of the Provincial Speakers Forum. So we're working towards also signing an MOU between the Legislature and all the municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal to actually establish this Speakers Forum. And then working out the details and the methods of collaboration and the activities and project plans and so forth. And then eventually get to the stage where we finalize that MOU with municipalities. And we're hoping that this is the start of an initiative where we can work together and actually enhance service delivery. But honorable members, that at a high level is the summary of where we've come from and where we're trying to get to and the content of the MOU. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, that's the MOU. Any contributions on it? Honorable Biela.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings again to yourself and the Honorable Chairpersons and colleagues. Firstly, Chair, I think I want to applaud the colleagues for initiating and developing the MOU with SALGA. I think it's a great initiative that fosters collaborative governance. And we see that based on the MOU deliverables, there are quite a number of positive things to look forward to. On the other hand, Chair, I think we've all witnessed that a lot of MOUs generally get developed as part of performance. And, you know, after a couple of years and you review the MOUs in terms of what have you achieved, at times there's very little to show for it. Accordingly, then my question would be, is there probably an operational plan, for a lack of a better word, in terms of the timelines and the deliverables or the projected programs that can be, you know, established and operationalized between SALGA and us, that would probably serve as a tool for us to be able to monitor if at all there are benefits to the MOU itself. And so for me, that becomes much more important for the benefit of this meeting, Chair. Thank you.
Any take on this before we go back to Mr. Sukraj? Okay, Mr. Sukraj, Mr. Nzuza after. Oh, when yes.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, for the opportunity, and let us welcome a contribution from Dr. Biela, the Chairperson. I must just indicate that the development of this MOU and its signing off only took place in April this year. So there's still a lot of work that we are doing in the background to actually operationalize its existence. But you may have noticed in the contribution from Mr. Sukraj that he emphasized the issue of cooperation on matters of mutual interest. And I think that is very critical because local government generally is a very regulated environment. And as the legislature, our only entry point thus far has been through overseeing the embassy responsible for COGTA. So our role, we see our role as that of strengthening the work of that sphere of government rather than us dictating what they should do, because there is that clear separation of power in terms of what the legislature can do insofar as local government is concerned. But I'm going to then allow Mr. Sukraj and my team to make contributions as well in relation to this. So our role, we see ourselves as helping the municipality as another legislative sphere of government to improve on its performance outcomes. That's essentially our primary focus in this regard. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think Mr. Mbela has covered me to a large extent. What I also want to mention, Chair, is I did mention that the next step would be to finalize an MOU to establish the Provincial Speakers Forum. So since April, since the MOU was signed with SALGA, there's been constant engagement with local government, but because there's so many municipalities in the province, they always take some time before they can consult and come back to us. So behind the scenes, there's been ongoing work and engagement with SALGA to actually move towards the signing of that MOU with the Provincial Speakers Forum, because that's actually going to be the vehicle where all the work is going to be done, where there's going to be that engagement. So once we actually reach the stage where we sign the MOU establishing the Speakers Forum, Provincial Speakers Forum, that will actually be when the actual work can begin. But we're moving towards that, and we're hoping that quite soon, as soon as we get feedback from municipalities, we can have that MOU finalized, and then we can actually commence the work of doing project plans and setting out activities and so forth. So there has been ongoing work since April to move towards that stage. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. At a practical level, what we are currently doing is the engagement between ourselves and our counterparts within SALGA. The reality, Honorable Chairpersons, is that there is engagement that our various committees will have with the municipalities. Where we have not concretized matters is to formalize that engagement. For an example, our portfolio committee on COGTA will have what we are calling Section 132 hearings. where together with the MEC for COGTA, our treasury, the Auditor General, they will engage with a particular municipality based on outcomes of the audit. And that activity, we are saying, let us now concretize it and draw in SALGA as an overall structure that facilitates empowerment of municipalities and councillors. Our Committee on Environmental Affairs, for an example, as part of its priority areas, it will look at areas of management of landfill sites, management of solid waste, issues of air pollution, where we cannot conclude on those oversight areas without ensuring that there is a municipality coming on board, because ultimately they become responsible for some of those areas. Human settlements, in as far as ensuring that the correct beneficiaries of housing projects take occupation of houses, in as far as ensuring that the blockages resulting as part of planning for those housing projects are unblocked. What we will be doing this coming Friday, Chair, there is an engagement administratively between ourselves and SALGA to ensure that they understand how our committees work, so that they are also able to make submissions before our various committees. We hope that after that meeting, we will be able to come back to the chairpersons and say these are the contact persons within SALGA that are having similar portfolios, so that when our committees are engaging, they are able also to tap onto the information that SALGA has before them, and they are also able through SALGA to secure cooperation with the various municipalities. When it comes to issues of legislation, there is a lot that municipalities are expected to assist us with in terms of ensuring that our bills, they reach the correct people, in terms of making available the halls, making sure that they assist us in terms of mobilization. That was just a part of what we are aiming to do to ensure that the MOU is able to be implemented. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Biela.
No, Chair. I want to appreciate the responses given by Mr. Memla, Sukraj, and Sinzuza. I think, Chair, it's something that we look forward to, and we hope that probably in our next meeting as chairpersons, we'll have more progress insofar as the strides that the colleagues would have made towards the implementation of this relationship. No, thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks. We'll then move to the subsection item B, which is update on the multi-party oversight report in Zululand. Mr. Nzuza or Mr. Phakathi?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The Legislature went on multi-party oversight meetings as well as the multi-party visits to various projects within the district of Zululand, and that was in the first week of July. We have since compiled the multi-party report. However, our research senior manager is now polishing up on the report, Chair. The report itself has been concluded. We are mainly requesting, Chair, that when the report has been polished up, we circulate it to honorable chairpersons, and at that time we shall request a special meeting for the chairpersons to be taken through the report and for the report to be adopted. However, Chair, we are trusting that within the next week we should be finalized. The report should have been finalized. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members, the report will be presented to us once it's finalized. might have to have a special meeting to adopt it. I think we can pass that one on that. Then we move to item 8, which is the reports by chairpersons of committees. We'll start with SCOPA, followed by quality of life, public participation, and petitions, the rules committee, program committee, and then the others. So let's start with SCOPA, and then quality of life. Honorable Fraser will present, and public participation, Honorable Dlamini will present. Honorable Butasat.
Thank you, Chairperson. The report is very brief. Introduction, the Standing Committee on Public Accounts Performance Report for the period of 1 April to July 2025. The Standing Committee on Public Accounts is a legislature committee established in terms of Rule 199 of the Standing Rules of the Legislature. Is accountable to the Committee of Chairpersons, the Office of the Chairpersons of Committee in the House. The committee exists in order to deliver on the following constitutional mandate assigned to the Legislature, performing oversight by considering the annual financial statements of provincial departments, public entities, any reports issued by the Auditor General on the financial statements of provincial departments, public entities, and any other financial statements or reports referred to in terms of the Committee of the Rules. Lawmaking and involvement in public in committee and legislative processes. The objective of the report is to provide an account to the Committee of Chairpersons of the work done by SCOPA during the period of July 2024 to February 2025, as guided by its annual oversight plan, the AOP. The committee considered and adopted its 2025 to 2026 AOP on 1 April 2025. Follow-up hearings on the 2023 to 2024 reports of the Auditor General on the annual financial statements. During April 2025, SCOPA compiled its report on the following follow-up hearings on the 2023/2024 audit outcomes of the selected departments and public entities conducted during February and March 2025. The committee adopted this report on the 13th of May 2025 and tabled it for a debate in the House on the 5th of June 2025. SCOPA, together with the Cognitive Committee, received a briefing from the Office of the Auditor General on the 2023 to stroke 2024 MFMA audit outcomes on the 13th of May 2025. And then finally, track resolutions. The committee tracked responses to which resolutions taken during the February and March hearings. All responses were received by 30 June 2025. And hereby submit the report. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. That's the report on SCOPA. Oh, I thought there are hands. No hands. Let's move to quality of life. Honorable Fraser.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to you, good self, honorable members. This is the report on quality of life standing committee. The Standing Committee on Quality of Life is a legislature committee established in terms of the provision of Rule 204 of the Standing Rules of the Legislature. It is accountable to the Committee of Chairpersons, Office of the Chairpersons of the committees in the House. The committee exists to deliver on the following constitutional mandates assigned to the Legislature: ensuring adherence to Chapter 2 of the Constitution by government and employers, and attainment of rights and freedoms stipulated therein by South African and those who live in South Africa, in KwaZulu-Natal in particular. Performing oversight over Office of the Premier, Protection of Human Rights, includes disability rights, senior citizens' rights, human rights and children's rights, and Youth Chief Directorate, and its use of financial and other resources. The purpose, this report is submitted to the Committee of Chairpersons to provide a comprehensive overview of work undertaken by the Quality of Life Standing Committee during the period of the 1st of April to the 31st of July 2025 in accordance with this annual oversight plan. On sectoral parliaments, it's Youth Parliament 2025. This event was held on the 19th to the 20th of June 2025 at Bola Community Hall, located within Dr. Nkosazane Dlamini Zuma local municipality under the Herigwala district. The considerations of sectoral parliaments reports on the 11th of June 2025, the committee convened a meeting to adopt the 2024 Senior Citizens Parliament report. AOP, the committee engaged to review and update its annual oversight plan for 2025-26 financial year. Key contributions were made by members in identifying focus areas and setting performance targets. On oversight visits, there was one at Newcastle, Majuba, at Siocam Recycling Project on the 11th of June 2025. The second one was at Kwatambuza Youth Center on the 13th of June 2025. The challenges encountered, the committee continues to face the following challenges in the execution of its mandate: limited availability of oversight slots, scheduling conflicts, allocated slots for committee work often clash with other committee meetings, affecting members participating and the quality of engagement, responsibility for monitoring sectoral parliaments resolution. The committee is tasked with tracking the implementation of resolutions for various sectoral parliaments. On children's parliaments, I beg your pardon. The committee is tasked with tracking the implementation of resolutions from various sectoral parliaments, including Children's Parliament, Youth Parliament, Women's Parliament, Senior Citizens Parliament, People with Disability Parliament. This responsibility adds to a significant administrative burden and requires additional resources and support. As we conclude, despite the outlined challenges, the committee has made considerable progress in executing its oversight responsibilities and contributing to the promotion of quality of life for vulnerable sectors. Continued support and improved coordination with the will be essential in enhancing committee effectiveness moving forward. Thank you, Chair. I think I've touched on the important points. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then let's move. We'll come back to Honorable Dlamini, because Speaker is going to leave the meeting shortly. Let's go to her on the Programs Committee. Honorable Speaker.
Oh, no, Chair. Good morning, Chair. I thought you were saying the rules, and for the Programs Committee, I've already asked the Deputy Speaker to present on that. I will allow the Deputy Speaker to carry on, Chair, on our behalf.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson. Just checking if I'm audible and visible.
Audible.
Thank you so much, Honourable
And
Chairperson.
visible. We can see you.
Thank you. Good morning, Deputy Chairperson and all honourable members. I will be reading the Programme Committee report on behalf of the Speaker. The Programme Committee held a meeting on the 23rd of May 2025 to discuss the request to the committee to approve amendments to the legislature calendar as adopted in March 2025 and to rectify decisions on the calendar of the Legislature taken in terms of Standing Rule 1565B. Performance information of the committee. Following the withdrawal of the Division of Revenue Bill and the Appropriation Bill by the Minister of Finance, the indication by the Minister that the entire budget begins, vote 1, the Minister tabling the national budget and other attending instruments on the 21st of May 2025, and the withdrawal of the provincial budget by the MEC of Finance. The process began anew, and the necessary planning and programming to be followed. As the provincial process was inextricably linked to and dependent on the national process, it was essential to understand the process as a whole. The provincial process was planned based on the timeframes of the national process. Amongst other submissions, it was requested that the committee approve a principle that no sitting shall be held on a day prior the sector parliament where the venue of the sector parliament is distant from Pietermaritzburg. This is to enable facilitation of commissions by the legislature, which are always programmed to take place a day before the sectoral parliament. 3 events on the calendar required decisions for rectification. The committee noted all requests tabled, including the withdrawal of the budget by the Minister of Finance and the submission for amendments to the calendar as approved for implementation. In closure, I would like to emphasize that all committee chairpersons adhere to the approved legislature calendar, and for any amendments, proper requesting channels to be followed. This will ensure effective communication and smooth operations. Thank you so much, Honourable Chairperson.
Thank you so much. Let's move to public participation, followed by a whips forum, multi-party women's caucus. Who is going to present on multi-party women's caucus? Is she online? Okay. Then followed by scrutiny of subordinate legislation. Thank you. Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and greetings to yourself and honorable members and everyone in this house. This is a report for public participation in petitions standing committee's performance report from April 2025 to July 2025. The report provides an overview of activities the committee undertook by PPP Standing Committee during April 2025 to date. The main mandate of the PPP Committee is public involvement. The PPP Committee facilitated the Interfaith Symposium, which was held on the 22nd April 2025 at Umzinyathi District. Prior to the initial day of the event, the chairperson conducted several planning meetings with the interfaith leaders. The committee also facilitated Workers' Parliament, which took place on the 16th of May 2025. Resolutions taken during the board sectors are not yet adopted by committee, reason being there was no slot allocated to the committee. The resolution will be adopted on the 15th of August 2025, then forwarded to the relevant departments for responses. The evaluation exercise with the interfaith leaders was held on the 25th of July 2025. Oversight visits or feedback on petitions. One of the objectives of the committee is to improve the effectiveness of petitions management by scrutinizing petitions and conduct feedback visits to the petitioners. The committee received petitions from different stakeholders. Some are not resolved in stipulated time frame as per KZN and Petitions Act. It takes longer to the nature of the petitions. The PPP Committee inherited such petitions that were dealt with the previous term as far as 2018. The committee, together with the Department of Rural Development, conducted a feedback meeting
to Lomo petitioners on the Saturday of the 28th June 2025. The decision for the conduct the visits on Saturday was that the department tried several times to meet with the community with no success, reason being the community in that area works in farm, only be home on weekends. The aim was to give a feedback on the processes of deregister the CPA and explain the process going forward to register the land to individual households enclosed in the petitions. Challenges: there were no slot schedules in the calendar for Triple P to hold its meetings during this period. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Let's check if the speaker still wants to comment on the Rules Committee or Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. No, I just want to comment. We have not yet met, but we are preparing to meet, Chair, in terms of us going through the rules, and that we have issued the rule book at the beginning of this year, the rule book that was of the amended rules as of 9 July 2024, and that is the rule book that we are working on. But we have noted that there still need to be further training of members in that rule book. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let's move to the Whips Forum.
Honorable Chairperson, the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and all honorable members who are chairs of committees and the Deputy Chief Whip. This report outlines the forum's activities, meetings, and resolutions during the first quarter of 2025-26 financial year. The meetings and key resolutions, that is on the 9th of April 2025 meeting, I tabulated in a bullet forms. That's adoption of previous meeting minutes, shifting of budget sitting dates due to by-elections, impacting program adjustments, consideration of a new request for facilities for members with special needs, sectoral parliament matters, presentation of dates and districts for hosting symposia, and sectoral parliaments. Updates on NCOP bills and NCOP program ending the 5th May 2025. Finalization of the updated legislature sitting program reflecting changes to budget sitting and sittings scheduled through 19 June 2025. Then the meeting of the 28th May 2025, the Whips Forum convened visually. It adopted standing items, including the legislature sitting programs. The forum confirmed the sitting schedule for 29th May and 5th June 2025, and discussions focused on ensuring adequate coordination for those sittings and aligning party preparations. And then the meeting of June 4, 2025, the forum sat visually and continued deliberations on the third term program. The forum adopted the sittings scheduled for 17th, 25th, 29th, and 31st July 2025. Lastly, an additional discussion were held on operational readiness and committee alignment. Then issues of constituency office verification project. The Office of the Chief Whip continues to undertake the constituency office verification exercise. It can be confirmed that almost 70% of them have been verified. It is envisaged that by the next meeting of the chairpersons of committees, the project on the constituency offices would have been concluded. Empowerment sessions or workshops. During the period of reporting, there has been no empowerment session or workshop for the period under review. In conclusion, the Whips Forum has continued to fulfill its mandate during the current term, addressing logistical, procedural, and operational challenges while ensuring smooth legislative processes. Central to its responsibilities is the adoption and oversight of the Legislature sitting program, which underpins an organized and efficient legislative calendar. Through its strategic meetings, sectoral engagement, and empowerment initiatives, the Forum has reaffirmed its commitment to fostering collaboration and excellence within the KwaZulu-Natal Legislature. This report highlights the Forum's integral role in sustaining an efficient and cohesive legislative environment. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip.
Chairperson, if I may.
Let's check if Honorable Mahlaba is available for Multiparty Women's Caucus. Okay, let's skip that one. Let's go to scrutiny. Yes?
Yes,
Honorable Debele.
No. Thank you very much, Chair. And my apology for that. Chair, I will be moving in 30 minutes. Now, I request that the Chairperson allows me in an event where
yeah, you can start.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the Portfolio Committee on Economic Development and Tourism was established in terms of Rule 194 of the Standing Rules of the Legislature, and it's account to this committee, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I think we have already highlighted the work of the committee, being that of performing oversight, lawmaking, and involving public. Honorable Chairperson, this report we are presenting take into consideration the 1st of April 2025 to the 30th of June 2025. We seek to then highlight the committee or the work of the committee under that period. Honorable Chair, one in considering of 2025-2026 draft budgets and APP, i-committee la hlangana ngomhla 7 of March 2025, and then la scrutinize the budget, and we found that both the APP and the budget of the department were in line. Will then, Honorable Chair, also hosted meetings, including meetings of different stakeholders. We will then be aware that later on we had to, on the 11th to the 15th, we had to find a new, on the 23rd of April, then such needed to be retabled, and it was again adopted in line with the fact that there was a withdrawal of budget at national level. The committee was also presented itself on the 11th to the 15th of April 2025 or attended the Finance Portfolio Committee for budget hearing, both of the department and the entity. The committee, Honorable Chair, on the 30th of March 2025, adopted its annual oversight performance plan, which then focus on a number of things, but in particular, tracing the progress of multi-year projects detailed by the department, strengthening oversight of the department by conducting regular visits in identified projects, monitor of employment goals for designated group and tracking the staff turnover, conducting outreach initiatives, stakeholder engagement session, educating the public about the department's program and public entities, monitor and give support to the following public entities, which the committee specifically adopted as
I think it's still here. Maybe there's something he's trying to figure out. There's a song which says Kiveri Bas Lang again. He's trying to figure out which one. We'll go back to him. But we've been joined here by the Office of the Auditor General. Welcome. Thanks for making time. Let's because he's still here, if he connects, we'll give him a chance to proceed. Let's get, it's gone. See, Wi-Fi, it's a moving target, it's a bus. I got worried when he conversed with us in isiZulu because, but let's get scrutiny of subordinate legislation, followed by Ethics Privileges Committee, and then Premier and Starkov.
Thank you, Chairperson. There's not much to report on scrutiny. We have only met twice. The committee is met for an induction with the Office of the Premier, and then later on in order to understand the legislation and functions of the committee relating to the scrutiny of subordinate legislation. I'm happy to say we now understand the role of the committee and what we need to do. And the committee is now has now received a draft plan and has approved a draft plan for a benchmark exercise with the Gauteng Provincial Legislature in terms of how we roll this out. And I thank Khumalo very much for her assistance with this report. And that's where we are at the moment, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Premier. Okay, sorry, Ethics and Privileges. Sorry, Honorable Fraser.
Honorable Chairperson, I'm back. Thank you so much. Greetings again, everyone. Just to remind the House that the Ethics and Privileges and Contempt Committee sit every 3 to 4 months, or as and when it's needed. The Ethics and Privileges Contempt Committee is established in terms of Rule 177. The Deputy Speaker is the Chairperson of the committee. The main function of the committee is to conduct inquiries into matters in relation to complaints of breach of privilege and contempt raised against members and report to the House thereof. Recently, we had the performance that the committee held a workshop on the 11th of June in the boardroom The attendance was a chairperson, Honorable Mahlaba, Honorable Kwala, Honorable Kika, Honorable Madlopa, Honorable Makubane, Honorable Mbanjwa. And the objectives of the workshop was to recognize and proactively address ethical gray areas before they escalate, facilitate a constant approach to interpreting what constitutes contempt or disorderly behavior, develop shared language and criteria for identifying ethical breaches, act as ambassadors for ethical leadership within their respective political parties, and bring back lessons, tools, and framework from the workshop to train or influence and conduct within caucus structures and broader party practices. That's it for the last meeting. And the next one, Chairperson, will be the update of getting a commissioner who's going to be part of the committee. Thank you so much, Honourable Chairperson.
Honourable Fraser on Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Followed by Starkov, and then Agriculture and Environmental Affairs.
Good morning to the AG's office. The Portfolio Committee on Premier, Community Safety and Liaison, having considered and deliberated on the budget vote, the annual performance plans and quarterly performance reports of the two votes, Vote 1 and 9, wishes to report as follows. The committee considered the department's annual performance plans and the budgets for 2025-26 on the 27th of March 2025, Vote 1, and the 11th of April 2025 for Vote 9, respectively. In May 2025-2026 budget was retabled. The committee received a presentation from the two departments. The committee considered the department's final 2025-2026 budgets and annual performance plans, APP, on the 22nd of July 2025. The committee budget reports were compiled, adopted on the 23rd of July 2025 and tabled in the House on the 24th of July 2025. The 2024-2025 fourth quarter was submitted by both departments timelessly. The committee received the briefing through analysis reports by the support team. The two departments presented the reports before the committee and the engagements were done. The committee considered the 2024-25 fourth quarter on the 1st of August 2025 for Vote 1 and Zulu Royal Household Trust Entity, as well as the Vote 9 on the 12th of August 2025. On Oversight, we visited the Youth Empowerment Development Program. The committee conducted an oversight visit over the beneficiaries of Youth Fund in the following local municipalities under King Cetshwayo District in Umhlathuze LM, where the committee visited Uqondile Trading and Heritage Water in Umlalazi LM, where the committee visited Banotile Holdings on the 27th of May 2025. The bill processed the Public Service Amendment Bill and Public Administration Management Amendment Bill, which are a Section 76 bills in terms of the Constitution, were referred to the Premier Community Safety and Liaison Portfolio Committee in terms of Rule 259. The committee, in accordance with Rule 260, subsection B and C, then resolved to conduct 3 public hearings on the 6th, the 7th of May 2025 and on the 10th of June 2025. 2 public hearings were hybrid, while the other one was virtual. The bill's process started in May 2025 and it's not concluded yet, as the NCOP dates keep changing. The challenges that we had were resolved. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Starkov. Honorable de Klerk submitted an apology, so I don't think there is a report, but no one to present it. So let's move to agriculture and rural development.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning to you yourself and good morning to all our members. Honorable Chairperson, the committee met on the 8th of April as well as on the 22nd of July to consider the APP and the budget of both the department and the entity or other. But it's important to indicate that there were some technical changes that the department wanted to present to the committee, which were considered and approved, but the other was had no changes on both the APP and the budget that was presented on the 8th of April. We further met last week to consider the Q4 report for both the department and the entity. We'll be meeting on Friday to consider the first quarter. The first quarter. I don't want to take you through on the technical areas that the made changes because there were a few of them, particularly on sub-program 2.1, which deals with the sustainable resource use and management, and under program 3 is the rural development. There were some concerns in terms of the changes that they were making, which was raised by the committee, but the department assured us that indeed the changes will not affect the service delivery in terms of the program that they presented to us. Honorable Chairperson, those are the issues that were dealt with the department. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's move to environmental affairs, then followed by education, finance, and health.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs, honorable members. The report for Conservation and Environmental Affairs Portfolio Committee performance for the period 1st April to the 31st of July 2025. The Portfolio Committee on Conservation and Environmental Affairs is a legislative committee established in terms of the provision on the rules 195 of the standing rules of the legislature. It's accountable to the Committee of Chairs, Office of the Chairperson of Committees, and the House. The committee exists in order to deliver the following constitutional mandate assigned to the legislature. 1, performing oversight over the environmental affairs function of the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs and its entity, SMVLO, KZN Wildlife. 2, make lawmaking, and 3, involvement of public in committee and legislative processes. The objective of the report is to provide an account to the Committee of Chairpersons of the work done by the Conservation and Environmental Affairs Portfolio Committee during the period of 1st April to the 31st of July 2025 as guided by its annual oversight plan. The 2024-25 committee annual oversight plan was presented and adopted by the committee at its meeting held on the 1st of April 2025. Consideration of the 25-26 APP and the budget Initially, the committee conducted a hearing on and considered the 2025-26 annual performance plan and budget allocation for environmental affairs under the Vote For area on the 11th of April 2025 and adopted its report thereon on the 23rd April 2025. However, the KZN MTF budget was subsequently withdrawn by the MEC for Finance. Following the retabling of the KZN MTF budget without amendment on the 29th of May 2025, ATIA MEC again presented the APP and budget for conservation and environmental affairs on the 24th of July 2025. Thereafter, the committee adopted its report on the same day and tabled it for debate in the House. Considering quarterly report, considering annual report, quarterly report, the committee considered the 24-25 fourth quarterly performance report on the department and Ezemvelo on the 19th of June 2025. Prior to consideration of the report, the committee received a comprehensive briefing by the support staff highlighting the critical areas to be focused on when engaging the department and its entity on their reports. Oversight visit. The committee undertook an oversight visit to Hluhluwe in Mfolozi Park on the 11th of June 2025. The main aim of the oversight visit was to look into issues pertaining infrastructure maintenance, access roads, park fencing, and waste disposal. Attendance of Finance Portfolio Committee hearings on the 2025-2026 budget allocation for Vote For ATIA. The committee members attended the hearing of the Finance Portfolio Committee on the 25-26 budget allocation of Vote For ATIA on the 1st of April. Tackling of resolution, the committee tracked its resolution and both the department and Ezemvelo presented their responses during the meeting held on the 19th of June 2025. The department and Ezemvelo also submitted their responses to the Finance Portfolio Committee and SCOPA resolution at the same meeting. Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs.
Thank you so much. Let's go to education.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Committees. Greetings to your good self, colleagues, and officials. I am presenting the report on behalf of the Portfolio Committee of Education. This is the performance report for the period from the 1st of April to the 2025 to the 31st of July 2025. The Portfolio Committee on Education is a legislature committee established in terms of the provision of Rule 195 of the Standing Rules of the Legislature. It is accountable to the Committee of Chairperson, Office of the Chairperson of Committees, and the House. The committee exists to deliver on the following constitutional mandate assigned to the Legislature. First one being performing oversight over the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education. Secondly, the lawmaking. And lastly, public involvement and participation in committee and legislative processes. The purpose of this report is to provide an account to the Committee of Chairperson of the work done by the Education Portfolio Committee during the period that I have alluded to above, as guided by its annual oversight plan. The annual oversight plan was presented by the support team and adopted by the committee on the 10th of June 2025. The committee initially conducted hearing on and considered the 2025-2026 annual performance plan and budget allocation for the Department of Education, Vote 5 on the 27th of March 2025, and adopted its report thereon
on the 15th of April 2025. However, the KZNMTF budget was subsequently withdrawn by the MEC for Finance. Following the retabling of the KZNMTF budget without amendment on the 29th of May 2025, Education MEC again presented the APP and the budget for the Department of Education on the 22nd of July 2025. Thereafter, the committee budget report was compiled and adopted on the 23rd of July 2025. The committee tabled its report in the House during vote 5, a budget sitting which was held on the 29th of July 2025. The committee will consider the 2025-20. The committee had considered the 2024-2025 fourth quarter report in the meeting which was scheduled yesterday. The committee conducted an oversight visit to Sozabe High School in Uku on the 10th of June. The purpose of the oversight visit was to check teaching and learning, learner transport challenges, as well as the infrastructure of the school, since the school was built in 1977 and situated in the deep rural area. The committee adopted the report on the 2025 School Functionality Monitoring Program on the 13th of May. Thereafter, the report was tabled in the House on the 29th of May 2025. The committee adopted the topic for the focus intervention study at the committee meeting held on the 13th of May 2025. The portfolio committee is going to conduct the focused intervention study on the progress made by the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal towards eradicating the pit latrines in our schools. The committee members attended the hearings of the Finance Portfolio Committee on the 2025-2026 budget allocation for Vote 5 Education on the 15th of April 2025. The Education Portfolio Committee was tasked to conduct School Functionality Monitoring Program follow-up visit as mandated structure to oversee the services delivered performance by the Department of Basic Education in the province. The committee has been divided into 2 teams, and each team will be supported by the senior researcher and the coordinator or an administrator. The program has allocated 4 days, which is the 30th of July, the 7th of August, the 20th of August, and the 29th of August. The committee tracked the resolutions during its committee meeting as per the agenda of the meeting. The following challenges are experienced by the committee. The legislature calendar is so congested and it limits the work of the committee. The committee finds it difficult to get extra slots, which hinders the committee from performing effective oversight. The committee also tasked to track school functionality monitoring program resolutions into 412 educational districts. Thank you very much, Chair of Committees.
Thank you. Finance.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to you, greetings to the leadership as well as colleagues. May I request your indulgence, Honorable Chair, and finalize the presentation of ATIA. I have been requested by the Chairperson of ATIA to just finalize his presentation, if you allow me, before I get into my one.
Yes, Honorable Luman, you can proceed.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. The Portfolio Committee on ATIA annual oversight plan was adopted on the 30th of May 2025, and it was unanimously agreed by all members. On the 30th of May, same day, the committee held a meeting during which it considered the department's fourth quarter which was the financial and non-financial. The meeting of the committee on ATIA with the department was preceded by the briefing, which focused on the financial and non-financial report analysis. On the oversight visits, a total of 4 oversight visits were conducted during the period under the review, Honorable Chair. And these oversight visits were broken down as follows. On the 19th of March, Unchwayelo fishing project under Mkanyaguti was visited. On the 20th, there was a visit on the Richards Bay IDZ under King Tsichwayo. On the 10th of June 2025, Imbende market stalls under Umkungundlovu. On the same day also, the Msunduzi market stalls under Umkungundlovu were also visited. On the FIS, in its meeting on the 30th of May, the committee received a preliminary report on the focus intervention study. The committee was taken through by the senior researcher on the FIS and therefore adopted it. The committee also held the special meeting on the 11th of April, where all entities were invited through the department. The objective of the meeting was for the committee to be taken through all the projects that each entity had planned for the current financial year 25-26. The entities and the department took an opportunity to outline their challenges and vision to the committee. As I conclude, Chair, it is crucial to indicate that the committee is decisive and proactive intervention when called upon to do so has had a major impact. The committee's oversight visit to the Matateni incubator resulted in the payment challenges being resolved. These payment challenges had previously led to a march by the relevant community. The preliminary report on the committee's FIS, which investigates the issues of spaza shops, has shown that significant strides have also been made in that more spaza shops have received funding. Thank you, Honorable Chair. If you allow me then to go into the finance, I'll try also to be short, Chair. We are presenting to you the report on the Finance Portfolio Committee for the period from April to July 2025. After the MEC for Finance had tabled the 25-26 KZN MTF budget on the 25th of March 2025, the committee conducted the budget hearing with all provincial government departments and entities from the 27th April to the 27th of March to 22nd of April. Following the withdrawal of the national budget by the Minister of Finance, the MEC for Finance in our province withdrew the KZN MTF budget on the 7th of May and subsequently retabled the exact same budget without any amendment on the 29th of May. The Finance Portfolio Committee report compiled after the budget hearing prior to the withdrawal and subsequent retabling of the KZN MTF budget 25-26 was therefore resuscitated and adopted on the 22nd of July 2025. The same report was adopted by the House on the 25th of July 2025. Following the retabling of the KZN MTF budget on the 29th of May, the committee conducted a hearing on and considered the 25-26 annual performance plan and the budget for the vote 6, which is the provincial treasury, on the 22nd of July. Thereafter, the committee compiled and adopted its report on the budget, which is vote 6 on provincial treasury and the APP, and tabled it for debate in the House on the 25th of July 2025. The committee considered the 2024-25 fourth quarter performance report of vote 6 treasury on the 3rd of June 2025. Prior to the consideration of the report, our committee researcher conducted a comprehensive briefing to all honorable members based on the analysis conducted on such a report. Having received a comprehensive briefing and approved our 25-26 FIS concept, the committee undertook visit to other agricultural projects, namely the Bambanana Abato, as well as Phakathi irrigation scheme in Mkanyagute on the 6th of June 2025, as well as in Tingwe Tea Estate on the 13th of June 2025. In terms of the bill, during the period under review, Honorable Chair, the committee processed the following bill and tabled the report thereon, which were ultimately passed by the House, which was the Division of the Revenue Amendment Bill 2025, which was the NCOP bill, as well as the KZN Appropriation Bill. The public hearing on the above mentioned bills were held in the Legislature complex. The Finance Portfolio Committee held a workshop on the KZN Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Bill on the 22nd to the 23rd of May. The committee intends to hold the benchmarking exercise during August as well as September to November. But I must indicate, Honorable Chair, that this might be having challenges as we are facing a problem in the legislature that there are no finances for us to be able to undertake the benchmarking exercise, which is required for the bill to be finalized before the end of the financial year in March next year. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Lungwane. Let's move to health and then human settlements and DSEC. Honorable Naya, health.
Thank you, Chair of Chair, and greetings to all. On behalf of Honorable Kika, I'll present the health report. The Health Portfolio Committee Performance Report from April to July 2025. Chairpersons, during this period, the Health Portfolio Committee executed its constitutional mandate of oversight, lawmaking, and public involvement over the Department of Health. The key activities, firstly, the annual oversight plan was adopted on the 1st of August following member input. Secondly, the APP and budget, initially considered on 1st of April 2025, with the report adopted on 15th April. After the withdrawal and retabling of the KZN MTF budget on 29th May, the department presented again on 22nd July. The budget report was adopted on the 23rd July and tabled in the House on the 29th of July. Quarterly reports, they were considered. The 2024-25 third quarter report was considered on the 1st of April. Oversight, the committee conducted an oversight visit to the eThekwini Metro clinics, that is the Austerville Clinic in Phoenix and Stonebridge Clinic in Phoenix, on the 27th of May. The aim of the oversight visit was to check the reported dilapidated state of the eThekwini Metro clinics. Due to the unavailability of slots, the pending oversights cannot be undertaken. The Health Functionality Monitoring Program report. The committee, in conjunction with the Office of the Speaker, will facilitate 2025 Health Functionality Monitoring Program scheduled to take place on 26th and 27th August in all 11 districts. The committee had a special meeting to adopt the concept document on Health Functionality Monitoring Program on the 17th of July 2025. Over to Focused Intervention Study. The committee adopted the topic of the Focused Intervention Study at the committee oversight meeting held on the 20th of March. All 6 districts have been visited by the senior researcher to conduct the study, namely Amajuba, Umgundlovu, and Mkanyakude, Mzanyati, Harigwala, and eThekwini. The attendance of the Finance Portfolio Committee hearing on the 2025-26 budget allocation for Vote 7. The committee members attended the hearing of the Finance Portfolio Committee for Vote 7 on the 17th of April. Tracking of resolutions, the committee tracked the outstanding resolutions and outstanding individual complaints during the committee meeting held on the 22nd of May 2025. Some of the challenges that Honorable Kika has highlighted, the committee finds it difficult to get extra slots, which hinders the committee from performing effective oversight. Also, the committee has received a number of individual complaints, such as those cases related to the shortage of medicine in the province and service delivery issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to human settlements.
Thank you, Chair. The Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements, established in terms of Rule 195 of the Standing Rules of the KZN Legislature, it's accountable to the Committee of Chairpersons, the Office of the Chairperson of Committee, and the House. The Portfolio Committee exists to deliver on the following constitutional mandates assigned to the Legislature: performing oversight over the Department of Human Settlements and its use of financial and other resources, lawmaking, and involvement of the public in committee and legislative processes. As part of the Portfolio Committee's duty to be accountable to the Committee of Chairpersons, the objective of this report is to give an account of the work done by the committee thus far. The period that the report focuses on is from August 2024 to February 2025 of the 2024-2025 financial year. The report attempts to zoom in on the critical items that are at the core of the functioning of the committee. On the 1st of April 2025, the committee held a budget briefing to consider the department's final 2025-2026 APP and budget. The budget hearing had been preceded by an analysis presentation, both financial and non-financial, from the senior researcher and budget analyst. After robust deliberations and discussions, the committee unanimously adopted the APP and budget of the department. Before the budget process was finalized, the Division of Revenue Bill and Provincial Appropriation Bill were withdrawn. This necessitated a halt on the entire process. The AOP of the committee was adopted on the 19th of June 2025. The following were the priorities that were identified and adopted by the committee. 1. Provision of decent housing units across different typologies. 2. Security of tenure. 3. Spatial transformation through multi-program integration in priority development areas. 4. Job creation through the EPWP and training of designated group companies. On oversight visits on the 11th of June 2025, the committee undertook an oversight visit on the King Cetshwayo district. The focus of the visit was on stalled housing projects. This is a continuation of the committee's priority area, which seeks to attend to all stalled projects in the district and the province of KwaZulu-Natal. On the 8th of April 2025, the committee attended the budget briefing of the Finance Portfolio Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Sports, Arts and Culture, followed by COGTA and Transport.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings once again. The Sports, Arts and Culture Portfolio Committee is a legislature committee established in terms of Rule 180 of the Standing Rules of the Legislature. The committee's core functions are as follows. Number 1, performing oversight over the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture and its entity, Amafa and Research Institute, lawmaking, involvement of the public in committee and legislative processes. Excuse me. Priorities adopted by the committee as reflected in its 2025-26 AOP include but not limited to the following: social cohesion and moral regeneration strategy, building a united and cohesive society, good governance and fighting corruption, engagement with critical stakeholders in the sector, revival of school sports, monitoring infrastructure projects, new and existing infrastructure and infrastructure transfers, monitoring budget expenditure, monitoring good governance, job creation through sports, arts and culture, and creative industry SMMEs support and EPWP, promotion of active and healthy lifestyle, national and provincial traditional and significant days. KwaZulu-Natal AMAFA and Research Institute is an entity of the KZN Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. AMAFA also reports to the Sports, Arts and Culture Portfolio Committee. Objective of this report: the objective of the report is to provide an account to the Committee on Chairpersons of the work performed by the Sports, Arts and Culture Portfolio Committee. Consideration of quarterly performance reports. The committee did not consider quarterly reports during the period under review, but prioritized stakeholder engagement activities. The fourth quarter report will be deliberated in August 2025. Stakeholder engagement was held on the 3rd of June and 13th of June 2025. The committee considers stakeholder engagement as a very critical part of its oversight work. By involving diverse stakeholders, committees gather valuable insights, improve decision-making, and foster greater public interest in the legislative processes. The committee got an opportunity to gather a lot of information about issues, challenges, and opportunities confronting the sports, arts, and cultures, the sports and arts sectors. The committee engaged the following stakeholders in a special meeting held on the 3rd of June 2025. The focus of the engagement was on transformation in sport. The following federations made presentation: KZN Sports Confederation, KZN Rugby, KZN Cricket, KZN Tennis, KZN Swimming. The Portfolio Committee further held a public engagement with Artists and Sports Association in Inkandla Multipurpose Center on the 13th of June 2025. On consideration of the 2025-26 APP and budget, budget analysis reports were developed by support staff and circulated by the committee prior to the budget hearing with the department. Briefing meeting was held on the 8th of April 2025. The Department of Treasury briefed the committee on the 25-26 budget virtually. The committee engaged the department on the 2025-26 APP and budget in a committee budget hearing session on the 8th of April 2025. The budget was supported by the majority of members. The committee adopted the budget report on the 23rd of April 2025. National Minister retabled the budget after VAT adjustments, and the department retabled the 25-26 budgets and APP on the 22nd of July 2025. The APP and budget analysis reports had been circulated to the committee prior to the meeting with the department. The committee adopted the budget report on the 23rd of July 2025, and the report was tabled by the chairperson in the House. Consideration of annual oversight plan. The AOP was presented and adopted by the Portfolio Committee on the 23rd of April 2025. On Finance Committee budget hearings, the Portfolio Committee attended finance budget hearings on Vote 10, which is Sports, Arts and Culture, and AMAFA, on the 8th of April 2025. Tracking of resolutions. The resolutions register for the 25-26 first quarter was developed. The committee will engage the department and follow up on the implementation of the resolutions. The committee achieved most targets in the first quarter and is determined to achieve all annual targets reflected in the 2025-26 AOP. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let's move to COGTA.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs, and greetings once again. The COCTA Portfolio Committee Performance Report for the period April to July 2025. Our committee delivered on its oversight mandate by monitoring both the financial and non-financial performance of the department. Some of the activities that we engaged in, budget and APP. On the 28th of March, we considered and adopted the department's draft 2025-26 budget and APP. Following the retabling of the appropriation bill and the final budget and the APP were considered on 22nd July, and the budget report was tabled in the House on the 25th of July. Quarterly reports, the fourth quarter 2024-25 performance report was analyzed and presented by the department and considered by the committee on the 1st of August. Now, one of the highlights of the work that we've conducted over the last period has been the Section 132 hearings. We conducted hearings for municipalities with negative audit outcomes, and those are the Mzanyati District Municipality, Ndumeni, Mzumbe, Amdoni, and Nongoma. Now, surprisingly, we were very well received by the various municipalities, the political leadership, municipal manager, councillors, and so on. We've had constructive engagements. We've made a number of requests, we've made recommendations, and we are waiting those follow-up reports. I'll tell you why this was an incredible highlight for us as a committee, because it put us in a position to better understand the challenges that these municipalities and other municipalities are going through, and also gauge, the kind of support and oversight that the Department of COCTA is providing to these municipalities. And some of the highlights were ensuring that these municipalities have functioning impact committees, that they are provided with the support that they require, whether they are internal disciplinary boards and so on. So it was a very constructive engagement, and as a committee, we've made a request that we'd like to visit the only metro, which is eThekwini, and we'd like to visit the Mzinduzi municipality as well, because we found that, as I mentioned, these were very constructive engagements for the committee and for those municipalities. The other activity that we undertook was oversight visits to two disaster management centers. That's the Amajuba and the Ndumeni disaster centers. We found a lot of issues and we addressed those issues. We are waiting for follow-up reports in this regard. And then we had a massive outcry in terms of water, provision of water across the province, but mainly in the eThekwini municipality. And so as a committee, even though we understood that water is a national competence, we felt that as a committee that's responsible for oversight of service delivery in the province, that we should have an understanding of why we are experiencing these challenges and where the real issues are, whether they are at national, provincial, or at municipal level. And so we initially wanted to engage in public hearings in the eThekwini municipality and listen to what the community had to say. But we're very grateful to Mr. Nishan, Sukraj, and your legal team for the guidance and support that we received, which better placed us as a committee to understand our role and gauge the way forward. So we kicked off with inviting Mngeni Utikela Water to the committee. We also invited the Department of COCTA and the eThekwini municipality, and we invited the Ilembe district. So we're going to be engaging with other municipalities with regards to water in the future. But this initial meeting gave us a very good understanding of the broader picture of where we are sitting in the province in terms of water provision and how municipalities are communicating with Mngeni Utikela Water. And we've put together a good foundation now. We formed a good foundation to move forward. We also had some good response and reports from eThekwini and Ilembe to better understand where they are what support they require from the Department of COCTA, so we can address that with the Department of COCTA. We've also engaged with the Department of COCTA in terms of the provincial master water plan that has not been updated for a very long time. So they are in the process of updating that and providing us with regular reports in terms of what they are doing to support municipalities in terms of the service delivery of water. So we are very pleased with that engagement. The other activity that we engaged in is the resolution tracking. And one of the things I want to highlight under resolution tracking is that one of our ongoing resolutions has now become the tracking of Section 106 investigations in the province. So we have got now a record of all of the outstanding, especially the historical Section 106 investigations that have not been tackled. And we've asked the department to give us timelines so that we can conclude those Section 106 investigations, because as the AG has flagged, consequence management is a huge issue across all municipalities. And so we want to ensure that consequence management takes place timeously, not just through these Section 106 investigations, but also within municipalities in terms of internal disciplinary boards and so on. We also found that there are gaps, because one of the issues that legal has brought to our attention is that there is no legislation in place to compel municipalities to comply with the requests from COCTA. And so we really welcome the MOU with SALGA and the speakers forum that's going to be put in place, because these are all things that will really assist the overall performance within the province in our municipalities. Of course, the challenges are there's a lot of work and there's a lot of municipalities to visit, because we're finding that these visits are they're really very helpful. Even where there are no adverse audit outcomes, I think it's very important to go to municipalities and address the findings, because as the AG has said that, a lot of these municipalities are in the yellow zone, unqualified, but with a number of really important findings that need to be addressed. So we'd like to visit more municipalities.
Honorable Naya, 2 minutes.
My apologies.
The report line by line.
My apologies, Chairperson. Just to conclude, of course, as chair of the committee, Rule 1345 allows me to act on behalf of the committee when we are not able to meet, and so there's a number of that takes place, and of course I inform the committee of what we are doing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let's move to transport.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Greetings once again, and the honorable members. The objective of the report is to provide an account to the Commmitte of Chairpersons of the work done by the Portfolio Committee during the period from 1 April to 31 July 2025 as guided by its annual oversight plan. During the period under review, the committee considered the following quarterly reports: 2024-25 third quarter report and 2024-25 quarter report. The annual performance plan identifies the performance indicators and targets that the department will seek to achieve in the upcoming budget year. Through robust oversight, the committee monitors departmental performance against the APP. It's critical for the Portfolio Committee to monitor the budget to ensure that financial, operational, and capital plans that were developed and approved for implementation as part of the budget process are being implemented. The budget and the APP analysis report were developed and circulated to the committee for the purpose of empowerment. The committee engaged the department on draft 25-26 APP and budget in its first meeting on 28 March 2025. The budget was supported by majority members of the committee. The committee adopted the budget report on the 17th of April 2025 that was tabled by the chairperson in the House on the 25th of April 2025. We have conducted oversight visits. The oversight visits are a very crucial part of a committee oversight work. They allow the committee to gather first-hand information, test the authenticity of reports, and identify areas needing improvement. Through site visits, the committee was able to evaluate whether the department was achieving its goals, spending money as intended, and delivering services to the people as promised. We have conducted oversight at Umdloti River Bridge, Ilembe District, Matamuken Bosman River Bridge, Utuwela District. The annual oversight plans guide the work of the Portfolio Committee, ensuring that the committee functions in a structured manner. The draft 25-26 AOP of the Transport Portfolio Committee was presented and adopted by the committee in a special meeting held on the 17th of April 2025. The committee held a special meeting and voted on the final mandate of the Marine Oil Pollution Bill on the 3rd of June 2025. The committee attended finance hearing on 2025-26 MTEF budget for vote 12, transport on 8th of April 2025. Pre-hearing briefings were held prior to actual briefing. The Portfolio Committee achieved most of the targets for the first quarter of the current financial year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Social development.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs, and greetings again. The report for Social Development Portfolio Committee Performance Report, April 2025 to July 2025. The objective of the report is to provide an account of work done by Social Development Portfolio Committee during the period under review as per annual oversight plan. The committee then met to consider the department's 2025-2026 budget and annual performance plan on the 1st of April 2025. However, on the 24th of April 2025, the National Finance Minister withdrew the national budget. The budget was retabled in May 2025. Then the committee received the presentation from Social Development, of which there were no changes. The committee considered the department's final 2025-2026 budget and annual performance plan on 22nd July 2025. The committee budget report was compiled, adopted and tabled in the House on the 29th July 2025. The 2024-2025 fourth quarter was submitted late by the department. Therefore, there were no briefing prior to the meeting. The analysis was circulated to members. The departments presented the report to the committee and the engagement was done. The committee considered the 2024-2025 fourth quarter report on the 22nd of July 2025. On oversight visits, the committee conducted the oversight visits in the following areas as per the committee's annual oversight plan. On the 9th of April 2025, the committee visited NPOs in Ulundi, Mabedlana, and Kwaceza. On the 27th of May 2025, the committee visited Youth Development Center at Eshowe. Board reports were adopted. It will be tabled in the House in the next sitting. Stakeholder engagement session. Stakeholder engagement is in line with the committee's mandate to facilitate public participation in the committee's legislative process. The committee received correspondence from unemployed social workers stating that the government had paid them to study with the promise that they will be employed after completing. The reason of conducting the committee was to request the committee to intervene as the social development department. The The reason of the contacting the committee was to request the committee to intervene as the Social Development Department. Department was not responding in their letters. On the 6th of June 2025, the committee held a meeting, the stakeholder together with the department, in order to give them a platform to address the matter. I thank you.
Thank you. Last one, Public Works, Honorable Msimango.
No, thanks, Chairperson, and greetings to honored members. Chairperson, this report is an account of the activities of the Portfolio Committee of Public Works covering the period of 1 April to 30 June 2025. The focus is mainly on the critical items which have been driven the work of the committee during the period under review. On the 1st of April 2025, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure presented before the committee its APP and budget for committee consideration. The adoption its committee for consideration and adoption. The presentation of the APP and budget was preceded by a briefing of the committee during which members were taken through the APP and budget analysis report. The committee voted in favor of the final 2025-2026 APP and budget a simple majority. The committee budget report was adopted by the committee on the 17th of April 2025. Before this proceeded was finalized, the Division of Revenue Bill and Provincial Appropriation Bill were withdrawn. This necessitated a halt of the entire processes. The annual oversight plan AOP of the committee was adopted anonymously on the 10th of June during the committee meeting. The following priorities were prioritized and which were identified and adopted by the committee of 2025-2026. One is monitoring and the establishment of maintenance of current register for all provincial state properties, monitoring of infrastructure development and investment. 3, monitoring of infrastructure planning as impact immovable asset management and infrastructure delivery. Monitoring of maintenance and state buildings, monitoring of a timely payment for state property rates, improve the oversight visit to achieve a better outcomes. Chair, on the 10th of June 2025, the committee held its meeting during which the department presented a Q4 report. This was preceded by a briefing meeting during which analysis report of the Q4 reports. On the 27th March 2025, the committee attended a briefing of the Finance Portfolio Committee on the budget of the department. Oversight visit, the committee undertook to oversight visit on the 6th of June. The oversight visit was at Mossfold Hospital in Ngwavuma and Mkanyute district. Chair, on the meeting of the 10th June 2025, the committee adopted a proposed topic, its focus intervention study, which has been presented by the senior researcher. The following topics was adopted for the Committee of Public Works Infrastructure. So that's the report, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We've received all the reports except for 2, which is Multiparty, Women's Caucus, and Starkov. Can we then adopt the reports? Honorable Mavimbela.
Thank you very much, Chair. We appreciate the reports that have been presented before us. I move for the adoption of the reports that have been presented and looking forward for those reports that were not presented that must be presented in the next meeting. Thanks.
Thanks, Honorable Mapisa.
Honorable Chair, I second the proposal made by Honorable Mavimbel.
Thank you very much. Reports have been adopted. Let's move. We are against time, but let's move to item 9, which are issues from sector audit that will be done by the Office of the Auditor General. Maybe we will request that they first introduce themselves. I am Ntutuko Mahlaba, the chair of committees. We've already welcomed you. You can introduce yourselves and then proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson, and a very good morning to you. Good morning to our Speaker and the Honourable Deputy Speaker, all the Honourable members in the House, the Honourable Chairpersons of the various committees. My name is Nomalungelo Mkhize. I am the Business Unit Leader in the Office of the Auditor General in the KZN province, so I lead the office in the province. I will allow my colleagues to introduce themselves so at least you can get to hear some of their voices, as some may not be presenting today as well. Thank you so much.
Greetings, Honourable Chair and Honourable members. My name is Jonathan Subramani, Senior Manager on the Audit. Thank you.
Good morning to the Honourable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and all the Honourable members, the management team of Legislature. All protocols observed. I'm Lorraine Gemma. I was a manager on this audit. Thank you.
Good morning, Honourable Chair, Honourable members. My name is Marisha Vatha. I'm the Deputy Business Unit Leader. I'm also responsible for the audit of the Provincial Legislature, Provincial Treasury, Department of Human Settlements, Department of Health, as just to give context as to my role in the office. Thank you.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson, and to the Honourable members, Honourable Speaker and Deputy Speaker on the line. My name is Nombulelo Nome. I am the Stakeholder Manager in the Office of the AGSA in KZN. Thank you.
Yes, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honourable Chairperson. And we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come and present, for you to invite us to come and share some of the findings that we have from the work that we do as the Office of the Auditor General in the KZN region. As known that as a Chapter 9 institution, Chapter 9 of the Constitution does establish us as the AGSA, as one of the institutions that support constitutional democracy in the country. We are required to report. I know Marusha has mentioned some of the departments. As lead in the province, I have to look after all of them, though I don't sign all of them. But we are required to report on the finances of all, for KZN in this case, would be all the provincial departments and also local government finances. And then obviously as national office would be for the national departments as well. To also fulfill our vision of being recognized as by our stakeholders as a relevant supreme audit institution, we do have a hashtag Culture Shift 2030 strategy, which I'll allow my colleague Johnny to take you through. Is just to mention that we do have that particular strategy, and in the strategy, at the core of it, we do place the lived reality of South African citizens at the center, that we want to improve it through effective service delivery, accountability, and also good governance. Honourable Chair, at this point, I'm going to allow Johnny to then take us through the intro in the presentation, and then Lorraine will take us through the key findings in this sector work that we have done as part of our value add to Legislature and the portfolio committees. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Norma. Greetings to the Honourable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Chair of Chairs, Deputy Chair of Chairs, Madam Secretary, members, Auditor General colleagues and officials. We thank you for the opportunity to present the insights arising from our sector work at the Provincial Legislature. We just want to kick off with the matters that are given rise to the work that we did at the Legislature and the importance of the work and in terms of its value add to yourselves. If we look at our reputation promise as the Auditor General, we enable accountability and governance in all three spheres of government and in the public and public entities. As the Auditor General, we contribute to enabling accountability and good governance in the public sector by assisting Parliament and legislatures and other oversight bodies as the representatives of the people of South Africa to oversee government, as well as the public entities. This enables the legislatures to hold all three spheres of government accountable for their use of public resources and the compliance with governance issues. These institutions, namely Parliament and legislatures, rely on the AGSA to provide quality audits and value-add services to give assurance as well as objective and independent information on how government and entities use our resources, the country's public resources, which are scarce, and comply with governance principles. As we've seen in the accountability ecosystem slide that's present on the screen at the moment, all role players have a mandate or responsibility, either legislatively or morally, to advance public sector accountability. As the AGSA, we support various members of the accountability ecosystem, including the legislative sector, to enhance oversight, to hold government accounts, and also in moving most of our auditees from doing harm or doing the basics to doing good on the culture shift continuum plotting. And this will ultimately lead to the improvement of the quality of life of all our citizens. And this is in line with our Culture Shift 2030 strategy, and this strategy is enabled by our MyApp approach. Just to give you some context of our MyApp approach, it stands for Multi-Year Audit Plan, and it is our unified or one approach to auditing and reporting on government as a whole using themes, value chains, and clusters. And amongst these will include, in terms of audit themes, we look at infrastructure, fiscal pressure, unemployment, coordinating institutions, and in terms of service delivery value chains, we look at water and sanitation, for example, health, human settlements, and in terms of clusters, we're looking at the metro, intermediate cities such as Newcastle, disclaimers. And so those are some of the things that we would then do through our through the MyApp process. And it is in direct response, this is in direct response to the macro risks that we face in South Africa in terms of safety and security, high unemployment, fiscal pressure, governance failures, cyber security, and corruption and ethical failure. And our scope of value adding was to assess the effectiveness of the provincial legislature's oversight role over the provincial government, and it included the follow-up of prior year's recommendations on the oversight function, review of the House rules and oversight model, development of and implementation of terms of reference, work plan and committee guidelines, systems, processes for reports tabled at the legislature, and oversight performed on the 23-24 MFMA outcomes. This is centered on our goal of providing clear and meaningful insights that can be used to influence a shift across the culture shift continuum towards a public sector that is characterized by accountability, institutional integrity, transparency, and performance. You often hear the Auditor General speaking about the PATI, and it stands for those specific things I've mentioned. At this juncture, I would like to hand over to my colleague, Ms. Lorraine Ngema. She'll give us to illuminate our understanding on the insights that we gleaned from our sector work. And one of the other insights that we did glean from the previous years was also the issue relating to researchers. And I think that will be an important key factor in making sure that the researchers are adequately capacitated to assist the committees in the work going further. Thank you, Lorraine. Over to you.
Thank you, Johnny. As Johnny has highlighted, the focus for the current year sector insight was a follow-up of the prior year findings to see how you have fared compared to what we had reported in the previous year. We looked at the rules, the oversight model, the terms of reference, the process which happened at Legislature, as well as the oversight performed by municipalities. So the committees which we reviewed are the same as the prior year, which is the Portfolio Committee on Health, Education, Transport, Public Works, Human Settlement, Premier, and Finance. So I will take you through now to the next slide, which is speaking to the prior year recommendations. So there were 4 of them, which we had recommended last year, and we did do follow up on them. The first one is relating to the recording, tracking, and monitoring of implementation of resolutions. So the recommendation in the prior year was that portfolio committees should continuously monitor and implement the past resolution until they are completed. As resolutions are meant to drive, enhance oversight responsibilities of the legislature. So this is important that this take place. So our observations in the current year with regard to that recommendation was that the committee activities were only limited to Q1, which is April to June 2024, because of the general elections, which we all are aware of, as well as the onboarding process, which took place after the elections. So most of the activities then of the committees only started to resume in the Q3 of 24-25. Our next assessment on the same issue of the tracking resolution is that from the committees which we evaluated, which I already have mentioned, there were resolutions registers which were submitted to us for auditing, and those were for education, for health and transport. However, what we noted is that between the period 1 April to 2024, 1 April 2024 to 31st of November 2024, the status of these resolutions was still reflecting as pending, with no evidence of any finalization on them. The other remaining 4 then departments did not submit their resolution registers. That will be the Office of the Premier, Treasury, Human Settlement and Public Works. Then the second prior recommendation which we had was relating to capacity building of the staff, support staff, as Johnny has mentioned, that's an area also which we need to zoom into. So the recommendation which we had last year was that we need to consider providing more training and capacitate this unit because they seem to be understaffed currently based on our assessments. So based on the review work we did, we confirmed that the status remains the same as last year. There were still no training sessions which we saw as been taking place for these support staff, as well as the vacancy rate, which still remain at 41% and unchanged as compared to the prior year. Then the next slide is still on the prior year recommendations. Now, the third one is relating to the oversight of infrastructure projects. So the recommendation which was given last year was that committees ought to perform their oversight responsibilities on the key infrastructure in the various hospitals, schools, housing, and other infrastructure projects throughout KZN. And then the committee should also focus and do the inquiries, especially on incomplete projects, scrutinizing both the utilization of the budgets allocated for these projects and the reasons for non-achieving of the targets. And our observation on this particular prior recommendation was that there was no oversight which was performed on the major infrastructure projects during the year. And this still remains a critical gap in oversight because we know that infrastructure and service delivery still remain the important issues that we need to look at. Then the last one on the prior year was relating to the APP and budget reviews, where the recommendation was that the portfolio committee's engagements with the departments to review the APPs and budget should be scheduled early enough in the cycle to allow the departments to follow up on issue resolutions which have been passed. Our observation on that one day was that the 24-25 APPs and budgets were only tabled on 13 August 2024, which was 5 months after the financial year had begun. And then the analysis of the 25-26 APPs and budgets by researchers was also completed in Q4 of 24-25. However, due to the delays in the national budget speech, the committee reviews of the 25-26 and APP budgets had not occurred at the time of writing this report. Now we're moving on to what was focused for the current year. So for the current year, we again looked at the House rules and oversight model, and we assessed whether the legislature has adopted these rules and approved the oversight model. And it's pleasing to note that these were done because the standing rules were adopted on the 9th of July. And we were also looked at to see whether they do include the establishment of they do include the composition of the members, the powers, the functions of the portfolio committees, and they also regulate their procedures and terms. So we were happy with the terms of the standing rules. And also on the oversight and accountability model, we did see that a formal oversight model has been approved and did provide a structure framework for committee operations and execution of their oversight managers. So based on those two items, we are pleased to report that that's being achieved. Moving on to the terms of reference, the work plan, which we also call the annual oversight plan, we also assessed that, and we noted that all review portfolio committees developed the annual performance plans, and they were aligned to the legislature's oversight mandates and also the strategic objective of the department that they do oversee. The second point on the terms of reference was that, however, due to the onboarding process of the new members and the elections, the operations only commenced in the last quarter of 24-25, and this delay then hindered the full execution of the work plans. Then a new area which we looked at this year relating to the system for tracking reports tabled in legislature. So we wanted now to zoom into the House to see what's happening inside there. So this was more like a understanding what the process is that takes place in the House. So our insights then on this particular area was that the legislature, they do have systems in place to track committee reports once they're tabled and adopted by the House. And if there are any follow-up matters which need to take place, they are referred back to respective portfolio committees to handle. However, there was no consolidated register of all the House adopted resolutions, because we were informed that the House uses a report that is included as part of the ATC, and the only reports from the Finance Committee and SCOPA were the ones which are mainly tabled in the House. Then, with regards to the 23-24 sector, Section 47 report, this is Section 47 of the Municipal Systems Act. So this report is basically a report of the consolidated municipal and performance for the municipalities. So we did request a copy of this report, and we got it through our audit team that does COCTA, and it was received on the 16th of July. And as of reporting date, the COCTA Portfolio Committee had not yet deliberated on this report, nor had it tabled in the House. So consequently, we did not see what oversight work had taken place with regards to the poor performing municipalities which were included in this Section 47 report. Now moving on to the next slide. This is also another new focus area which we looked at in this year, where we're looking at the oversight that's been performed on the municipality audit outcomes, and we were focusing on the previous year audit outcome, which is 23-24. And our insights then, or observations that we made with regards to this were as follows. The Section 131 report, which is 131 of the MFMA, was submitted by the MEC for COCTA, and it was tabled in the House on the 5th of July 2025, which we are pleased with that. As at the time of this assessment, no resolution had been adopted by the House in response to the reports of non-performing municipalities, and also process will still be unfolding because there were also some hearings which were scheduled to take place by the COCTA Portfolio Committee during July for some of the municipalities which had recurring audit challenges. Of the 54 municipalities in the KZN province, only 12, sadly, only 12 were listed as having submitted their annual or oversight reports to the legislature. It could not be confirmed whether the annual oversight reports were submitted to the required, within the required 7 days after council resolution, because the information which was missing, which is the submission dates, they were not captured on the tracking records that were maintained by legislature. And the council resolutions confirming adoption of the reports were also not submitted for audit purposes. So you could not confirm whether the 7-day period as required by the MFMA was actually met. Our recommendations then with regards to these sector insights that we just have presented is to enhance the oversight impact of legislature over municipalities with poor audit outcomes. First of all, we are recommending rigorous oversight of statutory reports. These are the Section 47 reports, as I said, of the MSA, and Section 130 reports of the MFMA, which was submitted to the legislature. They should be subjected to a structured and detailed review process by the relevant portfolio committees to ensure that identified issues are addressed comprehensively. The second recommendation we are giving on this is the enforcement of corrective actions from Section 132 hearings. So again, Section 132 of the MFMA. So COCTA must ensure that resolutions and corrective actions directed to municipal mayors, the MMs and the amendment team at the municipalities are implemented within the agreed timelines. And then the COCTA Portfolio Committee should actively then track these resolutions to closure with scheduled progress reviews to assess the status and impact of interventions. Then the last recommendation we have is regarding the implementation of the tracking systems, where we say that the legislature should implement or strengthen systems to track the timely submission and adoption of annual reports and oversight reports by municipalities. And then also tracking should include recording submission dates, linking to original council resolutions, and flagging delays or non-compliance for immediate follow-up. So those were the insights which we had identified for the 24-25 financial year. I will now hand over to the Bull, Ms. Mlamkiza, to take us to the call of action. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorraine and Johnny, for the presentation. So that is the work that we have done. I know I said findings, it's more for insights for the portfolio committees. It's our input into the strengthening of oversight and governance. We do understand, I think as previously mentioned as well, particularly in the local government space, insofar as available legislation, when you have to do some form of enforcement. We have given recommendations, and we are saying it through the COCTA department, even just from a tracking of the resolutions that are taken when there are the Section 132 hearings. I think one can start gaining traction. So in our call to action, coming from the work that we have done, is to establish a centralized resolution tracking system. I think we have indicated that reports are tabled, they are looked at, they are tracked in the various committees. Effective tracking of the implementation of the resolution is quite important. It ensures that departments are held accountable for addressing the issues that have been identified. The tracking also allows for committees to monitor progress, ensuring that corrective actions are taken before issues do escalate. And tracking resolutions, committees can also ensure that the auditees that they represent also present accurate and up-to-date information at each time that they're engaging with them, leading to more informed decision-making and stronger oversight, which will ultimately improve service delivery and in some of the cases, audit outcomes as well. We also then are saying in our recommendations is to prioritize the targeted oversight on high impact and underperforming infrastructure projects. We did indicate that due to the transition as well, there was a disturbance in terms of the work around infrastructure projects that are key infrastructure projects for the province. It is important that there's also effective oversight in that area to influence improvements in service delivery in the essential areas such as healthcare, education, and general infrastructure, including housing and roads. We know that without infrastructure, service delivery really isn't there, and for us, it is input into what we want to cover in the live reality or improvement in the live reality of the citizens of the province. The third recommendation is the timely reviews of the annual performance plans. I think on the reports that have been presented today, one can see that based on the work done in the previous year, we are seeing some improvements in the time frame or the timelines at which these are being looked at. But we're just emphasizing that it is important that this process of engaging to influence on the delivery and accountability around the annual performance plans, strategic priorities and budget allocations, and also the report. It needs to continue and be enhanced through the portfolio committee. Honourable Chair, this is then our insights to the portfolio committees. We do hope that with what we have shared, it will assist for the year that we will be auditing next year, but also going forward, particularly in the planning on the work of the committees and the legislature as a whole, and also at any points where there are transitions as well, as we also found in the previous year that some of the work started late because of the transition. So we hope that by sharing these insights, it then informs planning for the future as well. And with that, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity that you've given us to give these insights to yourself and the chairs in the room. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those presentations. We really appreciate. Honorable members, is there anything you want to ask or make a comment on the presentations? There are the serious issues that they raised which impact on the work of your committees, if you were paying attention. I doubt. Thanks, Honorable Moloi.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Committees. We want to welcome and appreciate the report. It clearly guides us where we are not doing well and where we are doing well. I know that my committee was not included there, but I think the work that has been presented, it's worth that we appreciate it, and hoping that the committees that have indicated in the report and also the areas that they must cover in the future will be assisted. I wanted to appreciate the report and welcome the report, and also say, as we are part of the legislature on the matters that has been raised, we're also going to look at it in all our committees. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? You mentioned that in terms of committees and the departments and the presentation of APPs, you mentioned something about it being scheduled earlier than we normally do. May you please may you please take us through that again?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I'm going to ask Lorraine to just go to the prior year finding insofar as the APPs, and I was mentioning that from listening in today's reports, I see that I think some of them were around May rather than the August that we had picked up in the previous year, and spoke to the recommendation that they should be earlier, because by August you're already 5 months into the year. And then whatever recommendations are given to the departments, they are not able to implement them early enough, and some may also miss the halfway mark when they're able to also look at the indicators and the like. So it was just a mention that the earlier they are done, the better. So I think we are moving towards that way. I think now they're around May. I'm seeing Lorraine is giving me a thumbs up, so I've covered her finding from the previous year. So it's just to mention that we are seeing that there is that improvement from what we recommended last year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, those were the presentations. If they are okay, there is also another one, because we normally struggle with how we deal with matters that affect local government, because there are many findings at that level. I think the chairperson of COGTA also mentioned in her report some few challenges. Now we are suggesting that we try and improve on attending to that through COGTA. Maybe can you suggest how?
Thank you, Chair. I think where we are now, if you look at where we started insofar as local governments and portfolio committees and the legislature, there was a challenge that it is challenging for the legislature to get to local government because of the separation of powers in the three spheres of government. But I think with the work that the portfolio committee in COGTA is doing now, I think recently we had the Section 132 hearings, where it is a way through the portfolio committee that the legislature can have oversight over local governments, where you have, the COGTA and the municipalities that you want to be engaging with coming through. But also we are saying with the reports that are tabled by the MEC of COGTA that speak to local government status, that those are engaged on, they are looked at, and they are already processed rigorously in the legislature through the portfolio committee. We found that it may not be so, or it was previously, but those reports, they get done, they are tabled, but we don't see what then happens after the tabling. Are there any recommendations that are made? Are they then followed up from those reports? And in some instances, also the tabling thereof is a bit delayed if you look at the time frame from when the year end of the municipality happens, when the audit reports are finalized and issued, and by the time the report is tabled, it's already a number of months, if not a new financial year about to start of the municipalities. So it's just really to work on reducing those gaps as well, so that the follow-ups are more sort of closer together, more immediate, but also when those reports are being tabled, that they are processed, dealt with, recommendations passed, resolutions passed, and they are followed up on, so that there is that tracking of what is happening in local government, because indeed it would be a challenge to go straight to local government. We know that there's been pushback previously, but I think the process that is happening in legislature now seems to be working. Thank you, Chair.
So much. Thank you. And thank you for making time to come here. We really appreciate it, and looking forward to working with you again in future. If you want to leave, you may. As we proceed to the last two items, hopefully we will just try and run through them. quickly, honorable members, because of time. Let's move to item 10, committee budgeting principles. Mr. Nzuza. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I will...
Wait, before you are teaching us, you see, in terms of gender parity, you are doing very well. I'm impressed. Yeah, there is only one tone amongst the roses. I hope the tone is sharp enough. Tones are too sharp. The roses now, all of them have disappeared.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I will be quick. The document that you are presenting has been circulated. It simply indicates the considerations that the institution has when it allocates the budget amongst committees. I will not touch on the framework, the legal framework, the constitution and the standing rules, save to indicate that those are informing what we should take into account when we allocate the budget amongst the various committees, and also having an impact on the budget for committees will be our policy on assistance to members with special needs. With the legislature having to ensure that members are able to operate at the ultimum level, where a member due to ailments is unable to operate well, the legislature considers the application where the member indicates that because of illness or injuries, the member requires assistance. And once those processes are followed and the institution approves that, we then have to take that into account in terms of expenditure. That comes into being, for an example, where a committee in which a member who now has a driver serves must be booked at the hotel. We cannot only book for the member and exclude the driver. That has an impact then on the budget in that manner. That's why we have to take that into account. We also take into account the programming principles that were agreed to by the program committee. How many meetings are held by the committees per month, per annum in the financial year? How many members sit in that particular committee or that particular structure? That comes into being in the area of the cost drivers of committees. For any structure of the legislature, if it were to meet, the legislature has to ensure that it reimburses members for travel and subsistence, the kilometers that a member will have incurred using their vehicle. The accommodation for those members that qualify in terms of the S&T policy regarding the radius from the member's place of residence and the area where an activity is taking place. We also provide meals, and those are not only limited for members, but also in all committees. We provide for more so that those that are invited to be part of committee activities are also provided for. The activities in terms of the costing, We then cost for each of the committees for 10 monthly meetings, assuming that those will be 10 physical meetings taking place at the legislature, so that we are at least having the closest guesstimates in terms of the kilometers that we need to provide for. For oversight visits and FIS, for one event where the committee may host an institution or a legislature which is visiting us. We also provide for the finance committee hearings as well as for the SCOPA hearings, where our portfolio committees attend when those two committees are having hearings into their department. And we also provide for the committee to be able to hold a planning session, which mainly is to prepare for the next financial year. When we provide for that, our meals, we usually cater for 25 persons for the 11-member portfolio committee, and that takes into account 11 members, the 5 support staff, and the departments, and we have a rate that is charged per person, per plate. We also have the average of 300 kilometers at an average rate of 660 per member. That takes into account that some members are coming from afar, but there are members that come from nearer, hence we are averaging the kilometers. Similarly with oversight visits. We have identified, Honorable Chairpersons, noting the constraints with the budget, that there could be an area of saving in respect of attendance at the finance and SCOPA hearings, where members of portfolio committees whose departments are appearing before those two committees could actually opt for connecting through virtual platform. That might assist us to ensure that by end of the financial year, we have not overspent the total budget. There are also activities that make committee budgets different from others. For an example, SCOPA will have the high volume periods where they have hearings. Similarly, the finance committee. We then take that into account. We are a committee like education. They have the functionality monitoring program. Similarly, Committee of Health. Those will then account for why there is a difference in the allocations from one committee to the other. And we then have committees that are not receiving as much budget as the portfolio committees or standing committees. Those are the ones that are scheduled to meet quarterly. There are committees like Starkov, Chairpersons, and so on. We calculate those 4 meetings, hence their budgets will be less. The next part is on the process itself. Moving forward, that as of the month of May, our finance unit will be alerting us on what is the MTEF budget, and out of that, how much will be assigned for committees as a total, which we then must distribute amongst the various committees. And we have to ensure that by the time that the Speaker engages with the Finance MEC on the requirements by the Legislature, we've compiled what we feel at that stage committees might require. It also means that by September we need to consult with the chairpersons on our initial draft budget, so that if there are additional activities that committees will have to introduce in the next financial year, the chairpersons are able to raise those before the budget is finalized. The last part is on the management of budgets. It mainly speaks to the fact that each committee chairperson must be alert on how much their committee is allocated and how much their committee has spent. Hence, the cluster manager monthly must monitor, engaging with our finance unit, how much has been spent. They must produce those reports monthly, and those must be shared with the committee chairpersons, so that at the Committee of Chairpersons meeting, an expenditure report that is presented by our finance unit is not something new to the committee chairpersons. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mshazi. Honorable members, any comments, questions? Okay. Committee's expenditure. Olos.
Good morning. Oh, no, super good. Off now. Good morning, Chairperson and Chairpersons as well, and colleagues. I'm going to take you through the various committees' budget. As Mshazi has elaborated on the methodology that was used to split the budget amongst different committees, the budget for total budget for all committees for 25-26 financial year is about it's 19 million. And then on the document that is projected, that has been circulated as well, it shows each committee how much they've got after we applied the methodology that was given to us by Mshazi. I'm not going to go through all of them, Chair, because it was shared. This report goes until end of June, which is the first quarter of the current financial year. So it's 3 months of this financial year. On a straight line, the spending should be about 25%. At the moment, we're sitting at 20% total spend, which means we have spent 5% less than what we should in a straight line basis. However, Chair, there are 5 committees of which they've exceeded that 25% already. It's agriculture sitting at 33%, sport, art and culture sitting at 56%, finance at 85%, corporate governance and traditional affairs at 47%, programs at 121%. Chair, the spend for each committee, there are tabs there where a chairperson can go and see the actual expenditure for his or her committee. Chair, that's about all. Thank you very much. I'll take questions if there are any.
Thank you so much. Any question? Honorable Pratisat.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have not spent much at all because we've been very diligent, being the Public Accounts Committee, to make sure we save money, you see. But I think what we'll have to do now is do lots of oversight visits. I think we'll have to go and talk to those people about their accounts where they live. So we will pick it up. Thank you, Chairperson.
Yeah, there is a term called what? Fiscal dumping. We don't want to promote that in the legislature. But thank you very much. If there are no other questions, let's move to the second last on health functionality program. Mr. Phakathi, ukhona? Nangu ukhona. Oh. Mr. Phakathi.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Ushaya ngemfishane ngiyakwazi ukuthi uyadona. Uyeke lokho kunye.
Ngidume kabi Chair. No, thank you, Chair. The chairperson of COGTA, when presenting, she made life really, really easy for me. She covered this. So what I will do, I'll just run quickly, Chair. I'll just indicate that the concept for the functionality program this year, it focuses on the EMS services, which is one of the core functions of the department, as it aims to provide the quality, efficient, professional and care emergency services in the province. It's noted that the targets for the EMS PI response rates for urban and rural were not met in the 2023 and 24 financial year. The challenges reported were cited among the human resources, vehicles, in particular ambulances, as well as the issue of the terrain, budgets, and infrastructure. This EMS, in the main, these are the, I won't go through all of this, what it focuses on. Chair, let me indicate that the committee had started by, as the chair indicated, by conducting the focus intervention study that focused on the same, the EMS program of the department. And then it came up with the preliminary findings, of which the themes of the study were focusing on this, the EMS infrastructure, equipment and tools, human resources, training and development, emergency communication center, response times, budget, planned patients, services. I won't go through all of this, just to show or indicate to all of you as the chairpersons in terms of the findings that some of the issues that they found were, as we now in terms of the functionality emanating from the FIS, the functionality is now expanding this to the entire province. From the infrastructure side, there were issues in terms of the that were found in challenges with regards to the lack of space, inadequate wash space, even the lack of the infrastructure in such a way that sometimes you find that there will be even a house in mother hospitals, challenges in terms of equipment, even find that they use borrowed equipment, challenges in terms of the, for example, even the vehicles. Sometimes vehicles are always gone for repairs. Challenges in terms of human resources, always having inadequate staff complement. Even there's staff at a senior level. I'm trying to fly a bit, to fly a bit faster or go a bit faster, Chair. So in all the six, as the Chair indicated, the 6 districts visited, all those were the issues. Even the new organizational structure, or the organogram, was not implemented. They're still operating using the old organogram. The emergency communication services, or the CAD system that they're supposed to be using, they are not using it. They're still using the paper-based to facilitate the allocation of vehicle allocation, direction, and tracking, which makes it difficult to monitor the vehicle movements. They rely on cell phone and radio systems. So challenges in terms of response times, inadequate vehicles, traffic congestion, poor road infrastructure, challenges in terms of budget, inadequate budget, in such a way that bulk of the budget focuses on the compensation of employees, and then a small portion of the budget focuses on goods and services, which is an issue as well. No standardized process in terms of the planned patient transport services across all the districts when you look at it. Here, Chair, I'm trying to demonstrate the preliminary findings as we are now expanding to the entire province. Now, moving forward in terms of this functionality, Chair, the functionality will take place on 2 days, or over the 2 days, on the 26th and 27th of August this month, over the 2-day period. There will be a briefing of all members, chairpersons, which will, for now, it is still a proposal, that is being still being discussed with you, Chair, and the state leadership. A proposal is to have a briefing of all members on the 21st of August, immediately after the sitting that will take place on Thursday that day. Proposal is to immediately after the sitting have all members being briefed on this concept and the logistics and everything in terms of how it will unfold. And then on Monday, because the program will be taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then on Monday, the 25th, the support teams for all the 11 districts will then facilitate the briefing of the delegation teams that will be visiting all the 11 districts. In terms of how it will unfold, on the first day, Chair, 3 EMS bases in 2 different sub-districts will be visited. These will include satellite bases where applicable. Then on the last day, the delegation, I'll demonstrate this with the tables below so that you'll see clearly what I'm talking about here. On the last day, the delegation, together with the stakeholders, will conduct oversight at the district headquarters and communication office, and they have a district meeting where the EMS district management and relief and rescue team management will present the district overview on the performance of their components. So, Chair, this is what I'm referring to when I'm now talking about the proposed stakeholders. Allow me not to go through all of them. On the left, I'm referring to the Department of Health, provincial stakeholders. On the right, I'm looking at the quota stakeholders. And then here, I'm just highlighting the type of report that we are anticipating to come back with. We'll have the individual report that will be covering each base that will have been visited. And then as we'll be having also the debriefing at the district and also the overview of the district. We also write a kind of an interpretive report that paints a picture of the district as well as the provincial overview that gives a picture of how do we see the emergency KZN emergency medical services in the province in each and every district. We always do that when we visit these functionalities from emanating from the province to the district. We'll have that, as well as the fourth aspect will be the recommendations that will be turned by the House into resolutions. So those are the fourth aspect that would be form part of the report that the chairperson will be considered by the committee, health portfolio committee, that the chair will table in the House. And then in terms of the proposed basis, as I was presenting, Chair, then let's make an example with Amajuba there, Chair. You will see on day one there is Charlestown base, Matlangeni base, Mataten base, and then on day two there's the DHQ, and then comes at Newcastle. It's the same with Etegwini, the Prince Mshini, RK Khan, Phoenix, then DHQ, and comes Wentworth. I won't go all of them, Chair. I'm just demonstrating all the districts up until the end, Chair. And then the next aspect, Chair, is just to demonstrate in terms of the progress, in terms of what we have done in trying to put this together up until where we are today. This is just the development of the concepts, the processes. We've started the pre-visits. The team of researchers is already now on the ground trying to work on the pre-visit research. We will be anticipating to work on, we're trying to work on the compiling and working on aiming to have the report that would be circulated to you, as well as arranging the briefing of all members, as well as a briefing of the delegation teams. Pardon me, Chair, I'm trying to run faster. That's why I'm kind of stumbling a bit. the allocation of members, we're anticipating to conclude by the 13th, but we are now looking at by Monday next week, we will be communicating that to you, Chair. The rest we will be communicating it. This is just to indicate the project plan, Chair, the long and short. Thank you, Chair. Let me pause there. I tried to summarize in the presentation the concept document, Chair, so I can move a bit faster. Thank you. So as to avoid, I'm always long, Chair, so I try to fulfill and be as short as I can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Phakathi. Actually, when I asked you to summarize, it's not me, but that's what Mshazi normally says before you present. So I was representing him. Thank you so much, honorable members. That is the presentation. I think it's just for us to note the concept on the health functionality program. We've come to the end of our program for today. Honorable members, drive safely home. You can pass by the garage and get some water to drink on the road. Thank you so much. Akudlulwa ngasekhaya namhlanje ukugeza izandla because it's not that event, it's something else. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Sabonga, you were right. Oh.